Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So I got around to checking out one of the movies I've been really looking forward to, and it's Edgar Wright's The Running Man. It's technically a remake of the 1980s version of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's more of a adaptation to the Stephen King novel. When Edgar Wright got signed on to direct the film, he wanted to go a little bit more of the source material from the Stephen King book, in which I have never read the book. And I was really excited when Edgar Wright signed on to direct it, and I saw the trailer, and I thought it was awesome. And I thought Glen Powell as the main lead, who's playing Ben Richards, who's playing a family man who has to get his family out of slums, and in order to do that, he has to volunteer to be in the Running Man of the reality show that is the highest rated reality show of all time. And it's basically he has to survive an entire 30 days against assassins hunting him down. So I thought that the concept is great. I mean, when I grew up watching the original Running Man from the Arnold Schwarzenegger, I remember really liking it, and I haven't watched the film in a while. I mean, the last time I saw it was like a few years ago, and I remember that thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was the greatest. I didn't think it was all that good. And from what I've heard, that Arnold said that they went completely off the source material from the book and made it completely a different movie, but with the same concept. But I still think it was okay for what it was. I mean, most Hollywood, when they do adaptations from novels, you're going to do a lot of major changes, and that's inevitable. And I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright as a filmmaker. I love this work on Baby Driver. He's the man who did Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Hot Fuzz. I mean, this guy was so good as a filmmaker, and he's always know how to do satire, comedy, action flicks. I mean, his last film before this was The Last Night in Soho, which I thought the film was okay, but I think it was kind of very forgettable. And I thought The World's End was not the greatest. It's kind of the weakest of the whole Shaun of the Dead, Edgar Wright trilogy with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. But I still was so excited that he was going to do this adaptation for The Running Man, and seeing that trailer, it looked like it was going to be up his alley. Now, after coming out of the theater, I will say I can understand why critics were very mixed on this film, because I feel like that it had some pacing issues, and the tone itself kind of felt like it was all over the place, and I felt like that some of the jokes didn't quite land. I'm not saying that they didn't all land, and for me personally, I thought the first two acts was very strong, and I love how they were able to dive in deep with the whole political message about the higher ups of relying on big ratings and putting the lower class citizens into this big horrific television reality show of a life and death battle royale thing, and make up any story that they want to fit their narrative to keep the ratings high. And Josh Brolin, who is playing the creator of The Running Man, played it up so well playing the main antagonist. I thought he was such a believable character. He didn't feel like he was a twirly mustache obvious villain. He played a very sadistic character, and I liked his take on it more than I thought that the original actor did in the original film. And there were one Easter egg of Arnold, and I won't say what it is, but you'll be able to spot it by the time you see the movie. And they did another Easter egg that is really connected to the Stephen King's books. And I won't tell you what it is. They do name drop a place. And most of you who already know about Stephen King, you already know what it would be until you see the movie. And I thought they had a great all-star cast. I thought Michael Cera, who's in the film, which he stole the spotlight. I loved when he was on screen and he steals the show, because the last film that he worked on was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He worked with Edgar Wright on that movie, and it's great that we get a chance to see him work with Edgar Wright again. And I think he had a great acting range. And I thought Glen Powell, which I'm a big fan of Glen Powell as an actor, I loved him in Top Gun Maverick. I think that movie really made him a big major star and got him a lot of great opportunities to be in the big roles. And I loved him in Twisters. I haven't seen all of his movies. I thought he was a great fit for the part to play Ben Richards. And yeah, he's jacked as usual, and you definitely see it. I definitely believed his character and believed his motivation for wanting to save his family and getting out of the slum and saving his daughter from her illness. And I thought that they brought much more gravitas to that role. Now, that being said, I feel like the last 45 minutes of the film kind of fell apart for me, because it felt like it didn't know how they should wrap up the film, and it became a little bit more of a goof and very confusing, and it had a lot of plot holes, and the plot felt very convoluted, and for me. And look, it's not going to be enough to take me out of the film. Here's the thing. I love the performances, especially Glen Powell. I thought that the action and the choreography, how much that he was able to go back to doing some more practical action set pieces like we don't normally get in today's world. And we barely get any of that. And I felt like he stuck I thought he really stuck the landing when it comes to practical action, explosions, the fight scenes, the body count. I barely even noticed that there was any CGI in the movie, and I thought that it was entertaining. It felt like we were going back to more of the 1980s trope, and sometimes sometimes it doesn't always work. But I felt like for me personally, I thought it did work. The music score I really liked. But at the same time, I felt like the movie had a little bit of an identity crisis where it kind of didn't know what kind of tone they should be. Should it be a little bit more like more comedic? Because it is a political satire movie. Like, no, make no mistake. Even in the book was more of a political satire. But from what I've heard for people who have read the book, I don't know if it's true, so don't come at me. I have not read the book, but the tone itself was a little bit more darker than what you got in the movie. And I don't know how much closely they stuck true to the source material. I don't know how accurate it was, but it still felt like a little bit more of an Edgar Wright movie. But anyway, I still had fun with this movie. I thought it was really good, even though that the third act and the last 45 minutes kind of fell apart, but it was not enough to like make me dislike the film because it's not one of his worst work. I will say that this is not one of Edgar Wright's best work, but it's definitely not his worst. I still thought it was a very solid movie, and I think it was worth going to see this in the theater. And if you haven't seen it yet, I think you should definitely go see it and give it a chance. So I'm going to give this rating a 7.5 out of 10. What did you think of the Edgar Wright's The Running Man? I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like this review, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so you know when my videos are up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, great evening, wherever you're from. If you want to follow my social media platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, the link tree will be down in the description down below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more of my content.